Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 15. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, they're still at the dinner, and y'all know Ross stood up on the ladies to let them know, don't F with my wife. So then he walks away, child, because he got to gather himself and whatnot. He walks away from the table, and Sanya follows behind him. So Kenya was like at the table, and she's like, the problem is you could have called us. She's like, how is it that Marlo is there, and you didn't question why Marlo was there, and we weren't there? Well, Kenya, according to what we saw, okay, now I don't want to hear about what the editing people did and whatever, honey. I'm going by exactly what I saw on the TV. According to what we saw, when she did call the day prior for an ETA, you took your sweet time, honey. So therefore, and thus and such, why would she be concerned about you the next day? It would seem par for the course. That's just me. And didn't you have fun on the boat? Plus, Sheree running it back all wrong. See, this is what happens when you play telephone. Sheree, you went back and ran it back in a way that it actually was not. So the way that you're telling her is not the way that it actually was. So Kandi is trying to tell them, it was just a misunderstanding. When you working, you don't have time to check on people. And I like the fact that Kandi was actually, letting it be known, listen, let's just not be mad at each other. It was a misunderstanding. Y'all don't be mad. It wasn't like that. And Kandi got a lot of jobs, honey. So she stay working. She gonna be on somebody's set if she don't do nothing else. So I think she can understand that when you're working, you don't have time for all that extra. Moving forward. So in the confessional, Ross was like, have you ever witnessed your wife drowning? And that's how I felt when I looked to the side, and I'm going to drown every time to make sure my wife is safe. Although that was sexy as hell, Ross. Okay, Aaron, it was very sexy, sir. She was not drowning. There was no name calling, no pushing, no shoving, no anything. It was just words amongst the women. Your wife was not drowning. When she was turning into She-Hulk over there with Drew at that restaurant, she's definitely not the timid type. Okay, if she want to get into it, she'll get into it. So I don't think that you should have interjected. Now, it would be different if it was a couple coming at her. Then I feel like a perfect example, like what Dr. Heavenly always says, men address men and women address women. I personally, my opinion is that he should not have addressed Kenya and Sheree. Now, some people are like, well, I want my man to stand up for me. I don't want my man in women's business. Okay. And that's just me. If something is going down where I really need you, I'm going to tag you in. And I know you got my back. But at the same time, let's have a little bit of decorum. Okay, Ross? Okay. But I'm going to chalk it up to this being a rookie mistake. This is your first season. We don't need another Patricia, honey. Shout out to Peter. Moving forward. So at the table, Drew was like, so she can't get called out? I mean, when she's doing something wrong? Drew, just sit this one out, honey. Ain't nobody bothering you right now. So let's just get into it with Kenya, Sheree, and Sanya. Please stay out of it. So Sonya's like, well, Kenya is whack. This is what she's saying as she's walking with Ross. But what really confused me is Sheree. She was like, Marlo, me, and Sheree, we made a pact to come to Jamaica, turn up, and Sheree jumped ship real quick. Girl, are you new? Well, you actually are new. But are you new here on Earth, honey? Because have you not watched not one episode? Sheree is loyal to nobody but Tyrone, honey. And she ain't even loyal to him no more. She over there hanging out with Hotel. And now you know how Drew felt after she was your go-to when you got sideswiped on that street and you jumped ship as soon as you met the cool girls. As soon as you met Sheree and Kenya and Marlo, you couldn't be bothered with Drew. And you were mad at her about something that she did to someone else. It wasn't even done to you. That's how crazy that is. Moving forward. I have to say this. My one and only issue with Sanya is she isn't all huff and puff with Kenya after multiple incidents. Okay? Multiple. Or even Sheree. But she piped up on Drew for doing something to someone that wasn't even her. Like, make it make sense. You know who to play those games with. That's what it boils down to. I don't like people that pick on who they feel is an easy target. And that's exactly what you did as soon as you were integrated into this group. So Kenya is still at the table and she calling Marlo a new person. She's like, this new person is showing up and now you got an attitude with me. Like, don't get an attitude with me. And you had this new person, Kenya. The new person would be Marlo. Child, she a mess. So Kandi in the confessional, she was like, I don't understand what they mad at. I mean, because they had a good time on the boat, I thought. So, I mean, what are we really fussing about? Nothing. So Kenya feels like she should have checked on them while they were on the boat. For what? Okay? The day called for one or the other. She gave you guys an option. So what is she checking on you for? If you weren't at the iFit, she assumed that you chose the catamaran. She don't have to hold your hand. Y'all are grown. So Marlo in her confessional, she's like, Kenya is making a big deal because John left her on day one and she needs somebody to fuss with. Oh my goodness, Marlo is so exhausting. Marlo, you're going to have to come with something new, honey. It's getting old. It's getting stale. Honey, it's giving nothing. Okay? There's no reason for you to constantly take digs at Kenya as it pertains to a man. Okay, we've been getting that since season 5. She ain't got no man. She ain't gonna get no man. When she get a man, she ain't gonna bring it around y'all because y'all gonna talk about her and the man. So just hush. And she don't even know John. So why would she be pressed about him disappearing? Child, John was an extra. He got his check and they're gonna send him his $25 in the mail and that's gonna be that on that. Moving forward. So Kandi in the confessional, she was like, if I had to compare this trip to that trip that Kenya hosted in South Carolina, Sanya is the better host. Didn't I say that last review? See, I be knowing, honey, if it's one thing I know, it's my Housewives trivia. I told y'all that. Kenya didn't check on nobody on that trip. She didn't even make sure the heifers had nourishment. She didn't even make sure they ate, child. That's how much she didn't care about them. So Sheree is talking about in her confession, the uninvited was funny when it was done to Drew, but it's not funny when it's done to me. Sheree, be quiet. What you saying don't even make sense, child. She did not uninvite you. Oh, Sheree's getting on my nerves. Anyway, so Sanya and Ross, they come back to the table, right? Because no matter what happened between the girls, she still wants everybody to have a good time because they are in fact the host. So they come back, they put on a brave face, and Sanya thanks everybody for coming, and she gives them the itinerary for tomorrow. She's like, let me make sure I dot my I's and cross my T's because I don't want nothing from these heifers. Okay? I don't want no problems. Moving forward. So the itinerary is she has iFit obligations in the morning. They're going to meet midday and then later on for dinner and they have to wear Jamaica colors. In the next scene, it's time to get back on the bus. And of course, Drew needs some help, right? So Todd said, oh, I forgot y'all need pallbearers. Listen, y'all, the way they were carrying Drew in this wheelchair, it did seem ready for the grave, honey, with the casket. When I tell y'all I was hollering, they were literally carrying her like pallbearers. And Ross really looked like a pallbearer. I was like, baby, this is funny to me. But I have to say, I thought it was so sweet that all of the husbands were there to help Drew. I thought that moment was very sweet. But listen, y'all, everybody had gotten on the bus, right? And Ralph pushed Drew up on the step by her butt to get her on the bus. Baby Monyetta's husband, Heath, grabbed Drew and scooped her up. I said, yes, ma'am. Now, this is energy. Honey, I like that type of energy. Monyetta got her a good one, honey. I'm happy for her after surviving old conehead, greasy-lipped Neo. And she deserves a Heath. Moving forward. So it's day 4 of the trip, and Sanya is leaving. It's the next morning. She's leaving for work, and she texts Marlo to fill in as host. Child, you go to Marlo? Girl, were you present on Marlo's trip? I probably would have called or texted Kandi or hell, even Drew. Anybody other than Marlo. Don't nobody even like Marlo right now except you and Sheree. Child, you should have called Sheree. Child, this is a whole fool. Sheree is on the phone playing, talking about these joggers. She was like, yeah, I got 3 weeks. I'm running into a whole bunch of snafus. She's like, it's not looking good for me. Girl, ain't been looking good for you since season 1. She was like, yeah, I had to change the date because the venue wasn't available and I really like that venue. I still need samples. I need to have a model call. Ma'am, you might should have set Jamaica out. You don't even have no modelers. And yes, I know it's models. You ain't got no modelers and you don't have no samples? Girl, you don't have no show. See, I don't have time to play with Sheree. I really don't. I do this every review and it's every episode and I really don't have time to be playing with Sheree. Side note, okay, I want to make this very clear. I'm tired of Sheree getting multiple chances to come back on this show with the same 14-year-old storyline. I'm over it. Okay, don't bring Sheree back, not now, another time. She had several times to redeem herself to bring us something fresh and new. Granted, she's fabulous looking. She's beautiful to look at. I love her confessional looks. I'm glad we got rid of showing that one where she was looking like Elvira. I'm glad that one is no longer. I'm very happy to see Sheree, but I don't want to see Sheree, if you know what I mean. Moving forward. So everybody's in the lobby and Marlo tells them that Sheree went to iFit with Sanya and she's acting host. So Sheree shows up to the set where Sanya is, right? Sanya is getting her commercial on, and I have to say I do like seeing her working. I think that's so refreshing to see them actually in the mix. So I thought that was good. But anywho, child, Sheree got there when it was all over. Sheree, girl, what were you doing? Here she go. The driver got lost. Okay. Back at the resort, Marlo is back there trying to tell them what the day is going to be about. Kenya can't be bothered. Kandi and Todd are not even listening. Kenya got up and excused herself to the restroom with the church finger. Kandi is like, now how's she going to put Marlo in charge when she ain't even getting along with nobody? That's what I wanted to know. Honey, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Back over there with Sanya and Sheree, they're talking, as they walk or whatever, about how Sheree really wanted to be there. So, that's why Sanya decided to double back and invite her for the second day that she's doing some filming. So she was just like, I feel like Kenya doesn't like me because, I'm getting close to Marlo. And I thought we could have a friendship or two friendships, but that might not be possible. Sanya, you came at her in the wrong way, not knowing her and Marlo's history. It's deeper than just this season. This didn't just happen and all of a sudden Kenya don't like Marlo. This is a long time coming. This has been since season 9. So we're on season 15. So yeah, it's a lot of history there. Here goes Sheree, old fake self. She's like, well, if you don't shut Kenya down, she gonna keep coming for you. Sheree, you don't do nothing but spread misinformation. And you made it seem bigger than it was. This is all your fault, really. Now you're encouraging her to go at Kenya. All right, Sonya. Honey, enter at your own risk. She ain't none of Drew. I'm going to tell you right now. Moving forward. Back on the bus, they're talking about Drew not being able to come. Here goes Todd. I told her. Just because you can't come, what about Ralph? Todd, be quiet, child. He ain't coming either, honey. He need to sit at home. He been on the beach down in Tampa. But poor Drew, honey, they going to lunch. And I felt like Drew could have came to lunch. But I guess not. Anywho. They get to the restaurant and they're greeted by old fake Sheree. And they're like, well, what went on? How was this? So she trying to tell them about something that she didn't even get a chance to witness. I'm like, Sheree, what are you talking about, honey? You weren't even there. So Kenya was like, am I salty that I wasn't there? No, because obviously Sanya feels some type of way about me. But I feel like it just shows how she deals with conflict. Child, all y'all got a problem, honey, when it comes to conflict, okay? So as they're eating, Monyetta sees that this bird has pooped on her food. Oh, hell nah. I would have lost it. When I tell y'all I would have lost it, baby Kandi done stood up like she was at the cookout eating her food. Kandi will eat through a tsunami. Kandi ain't putting down that plate. Do you hear me? Oh, child. But I was wanting to ask this. How many times can they eat the same meal over and over? Is it me? Or does it seem like they're eating the same meal every single time they eat? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So Marlo was like, I ain't gonna be able to do this, honey. Let's go eat by the pool. So she asked him to come eat by the pool, right? And Kenya's like, nah, I'm good. So Marlo was like, well, whoever want to stay with Kenya can stay with Kenya. Whoever want to come by the pool, they can come with me. Nobody moved. And I do mean not nobody. So finally, Monyetta comes. Here go Marlo. Oh, Monyetta coming with Candy's permission. Ma'am, don't do Monyetta. Don't do Monyetta. She trying, honey. She's trying to remain neutral. So after she comes out, here comes Kandi and Todd and Kenya. And so Marlo was like, it's plenty of chairs over here, y'all. Y'all come sit over here. Baby Todd said, no, we're going to the VIP. We don't sit in general admission. Well, I don't blame them. They ain't dealing with Marlo at all. Like, you don't get to act a fool and talk about me and then expect me to sit with you. Now, I do like the fact that Marlo doesn't hold grudges and she want to just get over it and move on. But, girl, you can't just do whatever you want and say whatever you want and then just expect people to be okay with you the next day or the day after that. It takes some people a minute, especially a Taurus, honey. They'll hold a grudge if they don't do nothing else. So then Todd, Kandi, and Kenya, they go over underneath the cabana over with Monyetta and Sheree and Marlo. Marlo is over there talking to Monyetta, and she was like, just basically telling them what happened again at the table. So Sheree is like, I just feel like Kandi overstepped her boundaries. She butted in. But baby, production made sure to get Monyetta shaking her head yes. I said, look at old shady production. Trying to get Monyetta caught up. And Sheree, hush. You too have a problem calling things out. Marlo hit below the belt first. Yes, Kandi interjected and she was wrong because the conversation had nothing to do with her. So if she just sat there eating her food, none of this would have happened. But what does her saying, why would you say this about this situation when you're dealing with this with your nephews, have to do with her taking care of her man? Like, that had absolutely nothing to do with the other thing. So then Marlo was like, I'm taking accountability for what I did. I did go low. I hit below the belt. Okay. That's real. But she also feels like nobody called Kandi out. Well, I feel like both of y'all owed each other an apology. That's what I said in my review last episode, and that's what I'm going to say in my review this episode. Both of you owe each other an apology. She should not have interjected. You should not have been talking about her relationship. And I feel like you started it though, Marlo, by going low. It's one, like, I know people are like, well, Kandi started it. No, Marlo actually started it. There was no reason for you to say anything about her marriage. Marriage wasn't even on the table. So anyway, they finally rejoined Sanya. And Sanya, I like this hair, girl. I like this. So Marlo said, Sanya, listen, girl, don't ever ask me to host nothing for you again. These heifers don't like me. So Ross is not with them right now because he's working. It's his turn. First it was her turn to do the outfit. Now it's his turn. Child, they show up to this raft. And Marlo in this Gucci Barney bag she got, honey, gonna sink them right to the bottom. I said, Marlo, why are you bringing all this equipment? She was like, I need my spray. I need my wipes. I need my this. I need my that. I understand, girl, but you got to know what y'all doing for the day. So it's time to get on the raft, honey. It's two to a raft. People are getting on. It's kind of like a lazy river. Here go Kandi. This right up my alley. We know, Kandi, you like to kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Shout out to Escape. So Marlo asked the man, she was like, how deep is this water? He gonna say, 1 foot or sometimes 25 feet. Marlo said 25 feet. Now y'all know I can't swim. Well, honey, you might not want to tell this group. Child, they finna push you overboard. You might not want to tell them. So they're floating, and Sheree is on one of them with Kenya, right? So she on the raft with Kenya being messy. She was like, yeah, I talked to her last night, girl. So Kenya is telling Sheree, she was like, I was kind of intimidated by Ross standing up over us and kind of cussing. Like, I didn't appreciate that. She feels that he was aggressive. And she said, I also felt bad for myself because there was no man there to defend me. And I'm going to just have to say, I understand that. Because, sir, why are you piping up on the women? Stay with the husbands. Sanya didn't need no help with these heifers. This was a regular schmegular housewives argument. See, this is why sometimes you got to just have a girls trip, honey, because the men don't be understanding the assignment. Like, sir, please pipe down. It wasn't that serious to do all that. If it was getting out of hand, I can understand. So Sheree is like, well, I mean, his tone did get loud, but I don't think he was being aggressive. Kenya is like, oh, okay, so standing up and cussing ain't aggressive to you? It definitely was out of line. Hell, when Marlo and Kandi were going at it, and she even spoke on Todd, he did not address Marlo at all until Marlo spoke directly to him. Ross just did too much for me. And that's just my opinion. So Sheree feels like he defended his wife, as he should. Girl, you just saying that because for some reason I think you feel like he was only speaking to Kenya. I don't know what it is, but I don't think Sheree grasped the concept that he was also speaking to you, not just Kenya. Anyway, over on the other side, Marlo and Sanya, they talking as well because they on a raft together. And Sanya was like, yeah, I was just really hurt by Sheree, and I'm tired of Kenya always being passive aggressive. I don't get passive aggressive from Kenya. She hung up in your face, for goodness sakes. Honey, it's nothing passive about that. Moving forward. Marlo was like, yeah, Kenya just preys on people. Marlo, really? So then Sonya's like, yeah, she always bring up her marriage and her divorce. Well, that's because that's what she's dealing with right now. What else she gonna bring up? She shared something with you, but clearly you don't care about what she's sharing, so she shouldn't share nothing else. And Marlo was like, that divorce should have been over 50 years ago. Sanya, the fact that this conversation is going on with Marlo is why Kenya don't like you. Just so we're clear. So then they show them asking about Ralph and Drew, and then they show Ralph and Drew making the best of it in their room and whatnot. In the next scene, it's time for the last dinner. So Kenya goes in to check on Drew. I thought that was sweet because, honey, ain't nobody really checking on her. She can't even make it to the dinner because of the pain of her foot, and it's starting to swell even more. She has to get on the plane. So she's trying to, ration her pain pills. So she's not going to be able to make it to the dinner. And I was like, man, that sucks. Like, she literally was cut out of the entire rest of the trip. So Marlo is FaceTiming her nephews. Monyetta stops by Candy's room. So Monyetta's like, yeah, I was talking to Marlo, asking her questions. And Kandi was like, mm-hmm. And Monyetta was like, no, we were bonding. Kandi said, F y'all bond. Child, not Kandi pulling you my friend. Monyetta was like, well, she was opening up to me. So Kandi basically said, girl, she always opening up. I always saying something about what she went through, and then she gonna do the exact same thing. Honey, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. The first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Honey, I'm not about to do that with her no more. I'm not open to reconciling with Marlo. I'm just ready to move on. Child, that didn't go over well. So everyone is dressed in their black, green, or gold, which are Jamaica colors. Marlo and Kenya wearing the same top in different colors. Marlo was so tickled to see Kandi in that top. I think she saw an open door when they were dressed alike. She was like, oh, because, she wanted to bond over the gossip. So since they couldn't bond over the gossip, she was trying to bond over the shirt. Now they going to bond over something a little bit later, and we going to get into that. They had a stole my look type of moment. Okay, another side note, y'all. I am really loving Sonya's hair. I needed that hair. I wonder if that's from her and her sister's line. Because remember, I don't know if y'all know, but Sanya and her sister used to own a hairline. I don't know if they still do, but they used to sell hair. That was a part of the first show that they were on. Anyway, that's just a side note. I got to look that up. So as they're sitting at the table, Sanya was asking them, what was the best part of the trip for them? And Sheree said it was going to the track where Sanya used to run and also betting on Marlo. So Marlo was like, you know what? All I could hear was Sheree just cheering me on. She was like, that really touched me. Sheree said, girl, I had money on you. So they all laughing or whatever. Marlo said, okay, well, even if you had money on me, the fact that you were yelling for me to win, it felt great to hear you cheer for me. She was like, I watched that video over and over. And y'all know what? Now, I know y'all don't care for Marlo, but just hear me out. Just hear me out, okay? This little part right here made me realize what the power of being supportive can do, okay? Because I don't think Marlo ever had that growing up. So Sheree made her feel special. The fact that she said, I just kept watching that over and over and over again, and all I could hear was Sheree cheering for me. She just wants acceptance. That's what I'm thinking. Now, I might be wrong, but when I heard that, I was just like, oh, that meant something to her. Anywho, so then Sheree said, well, you did say you want to talk to Kandi. So Marlo did say, she said, listen, I accept accountability for what I did, but do you understand what made me go so low? Kandi said, no. So Marlo starts to explain when she was talking to Ralph and heard that he reneged on adopting Josiah, it just did something to her. But when Kandi chimed in, and it threw her off because she was talking about the boys. So Kandi explains, that she loves the boys, so she don't want to make it about them. But what she was saying, there was some truth to it. So Marlo was like, well, what I was saying was some truth to it as well. Wrong road, Marlo. Wrong road. Kandi said, no, the things that you were saying about my husband were not true. So Kandi said, you know what? I'm going to apologize to you for saying that in front of everybody. But I feel like Ralph couldn't really defend himself without everybody looking at him like he arguing with a woman. And I agree with that. Kandi said, you always talking about how you go below the belt. So I'm not supposed to say nothing to you? She's like, I'm not Michelle Obama. You go low, I'm going with you. I know that's right, honey. You go low, I'm going to hell. Don't start none, ain't gonna be none. So Todd was like, listen, the next time y'all go low, can y'all leave me the F out of it? Here go Marlo. You gotta cuss at me? Like, wait till I get a man around me before you cuss at me. Well, that's funny, because Ross cussed at Kenya and Sheree, and nobody cared. There was no man present. Child, y'all such hypocrites. Anyway, so Marlo was like, listen, Kandi, I'ma still support you. I'ma still post you. And Kandi was like, I'ma still support you as well. And she was like, just please don't bring up Michael and William, and I'm not going to talk about your husband no more. And she was like, okay, cool. So they both agreed not to go low. But Marlo was like, this didn't settle nothing. We'll settle it another time. So Ross excuses himself from the table because he has to work early the next morning. And Sheree is like, oh, okay. When the men excuse themselves, she's like, let's just laugh and have fun. So baby Sonya leaning back with one of her arms up on the chair. She's like, yeah, I want to have fun, but Kenya, what's up? Oh, child. Sounded like she was calling her out, honey, like she wanted to fight. I said, baby, not Kenya, what's up? Baby, Kenya looked over her. She said, yeah, what is up? Kenya said, you sound like a dude. Yes, what is up? Honey, I was thinking the exact same thing. I said, baby. Ooh, honey. So Sanya basically was like, every time I talk to you, looking at your phone, she's like, I don't even have my phone. Sanya was like, well, you looking at something, okay, but you ignoring me. She's like, I feel like you're ungrateful. I've been a great hostess. Oh, child. Ma'am, they've been to Jamaica plenty of times, but I do feel like, there have been times during the trip that Kenya has been disrespectful. I just have to call a spade a spade. So these two are going at it. And Sanya is trying to talk to her, and Kenya's like, listen, I will talk to you and you will listen. Oh, baby, the conversation would have been over. She was like, you are not going to tell me what to do. She was like, yes, I am. She was like, no, we're not doing that. You're going to allow me to talk. And she was like, no, you're going to listen. She was like, oh, okay, well, then the conversation is over. Ooh, child. She's like, this is a conversation. I'll talk when I want to. So they're going back and forth and back. And so Sanya was like, Kenya, I feel like you have been dismissive. Kenya said, when? Give me an example. So Sanya brings up the phone call and she said, okay, and I apologize. We talked about it. What else is going on? Like, what other issue have you had with me? She said, let me think. Kenya said, I'll wait. Oh, no, child. Kenya got poor Sanya stumped. Let me help you out, Sanya. Okay, let me help you. She has been disrespectful of your time and effort during this trip. You brought her there. So just like she said on past seasons, people are not even thanking you for bringing them on the trip. They should be thanking you. Y'all remember that season? I forgot whose trip it was, but Kenya did not feel like they were being hospitable to the host. So for me, I feel like this is giving hypocrite as well. She was never on time for anything that you were doing, but she would be on time for anybody else. She's an on-time person. So her being late made absolutely no sense. Like, Sanya, you don't have anything to say, girl? What are you talking about? Where's the energy that you gave Drew? See, the thing is, you started all of this by running back y'all's conversation to Marlo when y'all were on that other trip that Marlo hosted. So Kandi said in her confessional, girl, you just setting yourself up, honey. You ain't no match for Kenya. And ain't. So Kenya asked for them to just move forward. She was like, listen, girl, okay, let's just move forward. If we hash it out and we decide to move forward, can we just do that and not revisit it a million times? And Sanya was like, in her confessional, I'm in Jamaica. Why am I not reading her for filth? You want to know why? Because she will gather you. That's why. You chose to pick with another newbie instead of a vet. You want to be in Kenya's good graces. So that's why you weren't going off. That's what it is. So Sanya was like, I was really feeling away, but I appreciate you saying that. And Kenya's like, yeah, because I feel like you're my type of girl. Like, I love the fact that you're accomplished. I like accomplished women. She's like, but girl, wait a minute though. Serious question. Did you give me a birthday cake? It's a no. So child, they hit us with a next time on Real Housewives. Marlo said, before y'all go, not before I tell y'all what happened with me and Kandi at the airport. So basically, everybody says that the KFC in Jamaica is the bomb. Now, let me tell y'all something, honey. This is just a side note. I am going to plan a trip specifically to go to Jamaica to get me some KFC, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a side note. Back to this. So she was like, so I had to get me some. So we in the airport and Kandi passes by me and she was like, you better be glad I like chicken because I'm mad at you. Can I have a wing, please? We might need to get Kandi into a program, honey. Because, baby, the food be calling her like Pookie on New Jack City. Oh, child, But they do say Jamaica KFC is the bomb, honey. I guess it's okay because it brought the two of them back together. Oh, honey, this is a fool. And that was the end of the episode. So, basically, that's how Marlo and Kandi came together, honey. They didn't come together over the gossip that was Portia and her Rolls Royce. They didn't come together over the Valentino top, but they did come together over Jamaica KFC. And that's just that on that. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.